And now, coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, it's the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal, only on KGRA Digital Broadcasting.
Hi, and welcome to the Sheena Metal Experience on KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network, coming to you live every Friday at 3 o'clock Pacific Time. I'm Sheena Metal. I'm a psychic medium. I'm an interfaith minister. I'm a 27-year talk radio host, and I come to you from Los Angeles, California, every week. This show is about spirituality. It's about humanity. It's about creativity. It's about passion and service. It's about being your best you and inspiring others to do the same in this big, beautiful world. And it may be my show every week, but I can guarantee you, my friends, it is most definitely always your experience. My guest today is a wonderfully talented actress and spiritual being, and I'm just thrilled to have her here. She is just full of effervescence and life. And I know you'll love her as much as I do if you don't already. Please welcome the wonderful Kim Rhodes to the show. How are you, my friend?
Hi, I love you so much. I saw that intro and it made my little heart just go,
right?
Yay, so much, yay.
You know that my whole life, right? I've wanted to be able to do a show that brought my creative world and my spiritual world together. And I'm finally doing that. And it's like my favorite thing in the whole world.
It's so good. It's so good. I love it.
And I think that we as creative people, right, for the most part, not all of us, but most creatives are also very spiritual people. And for me, the same channel that I get messages through spiritually is the same channel I get messages through creatively. Is it the same way for you?
I as you say it, I think so. I think it's all instinct. That's not impulse. There's an I word that I'm looking for that I can't quite grab a hold of. But but it is something that is compelling. It is both attracting and compelling. And and yeah, they do feel very similar when it's just when it bypasses my gray matter and goes straight into my heart. And that feels both spiritual and creative.
Yeah, for me, it's hard to separate the two. And I probably talk about this on the show every week as I'm bringing people that I love from my life onto the show. But my spirituality always kind of ran the ship. And I know that people that I love, like you, know that, but not everybody knew that. So when I sort of came out as a light worker and people were having their WTF moment, I always say it's like that, you know, that tour where Madonna wore her underwear on the outside. Like, I just kind of wear my underwear on the outside now. And that this has always kind of been who I was. And it feels good to be sort of leading with that. And for me, it was very much about the passing of my mother and the messages I received from her after she passed, which was kind of like, okay, kid, now's the time to do it. And I've never been so happy mixing both of my worlds and the wonderful people in it. And I know that you are also an extremely spiritual person, right? And yourself a very gifted spiritual light worker. So what has that road been like for you to have grown up in the entertainment world, but also have this spiritual side of you? I mean, is it something you've always been open about?
No. I think that fear and ego for me are very closely entwined.
Yeah.
And even in my early explorations of spirituality, it was run by fear and ego. I would follow an impulse and say something, and then I would immediately want it validated as being right. And I want my gift to make me special. And I want to be other, and I want to be empowered, and I want to be, and a lot of that for me had to be confronted when I got sober, which is ultimately for me, my journey of sobriety is surrendering to a higher power, which means I had to quit being the highest power.
Right.
And that really expanded my ability to detach from another person's response, and to trust my authenticity and to give other people the dignity of responding to it however they want. If I have an impulse and I follow it and someone else says that doesn't resonate spiritually for me at all, I'm no longer really attached to being special and right and seen. Instead, I just go, great. Well, I'm glad you know that. And then I go on with my little life. I do a lot of convention work now where I go to conventions and I answer questions and I'm on stage a lot. And people tell me that my superpower is making people cry, which
Oh,
is no, it's okay. It's a good thing because they don't see what I'm doing as channeling. It's
right.
just inevitably at some point, something comes through the top of my head and shoots out my heart and comes out of my mouth, and an entire room will have a profound experience that I am not at all in charge of. I had
Yes.
nothing to fucking do with it.
Right.
And then afterwards, people will be like, you made me cry. And I will go, I don't remember any of it. Please tell me what I said. And they think I'm
Yes.
joking and I'm not.
No, and it's the same experience for me, and I understand. And for years, even before I understood that I had gifts, I knew I had the ability to do that. And I used to always laugh when I would have people on my show. I would always say, probably the first couple times you did my show, somebody would start crying, and I'd say, it's okay. Somebody cries on my show every day. Don't worry about it. I'm Irish. We all cry here. But yeah, I remember I did a show once at the last place where I did radio, my previous affiliate. And I got done, and this woman said to me, what did you just do to me? And I said, I don't know. We did some radio. She's like, no. What did you do to me? And that was when I started realizing that this thing that I always just thought was a nice part of my personality and an offshoot of my ability to make people feel comfortable from always being the new kid, and that it really was something that was a little more far reaching than that. And I think that, some people seek becoming a light worker, and some people have light working thrust upon them.
Thrust upon them. Some people are born to it. Some people achieve it. Some people have light
Right.
thrust upon them.
I just kept trying to run, and it just kept following me. And when I said "oh" before, I didn't mean it in a sad way. I meant it like in a sweet way,
Yep.
because I think there's a lot of folks out there that need healing. And I know from for people who don't know, of course, Kim was a regular on the show Supernatural. And I went to a Supernatural conference once. I saw you in Los Angeles because my friend Rob's band was playing, and I love Rob Benedict. And I was so blown away to see how many people that love that show are really people that are not just loving the supernatural aspect of it, but the family aspect, and really they're looking to grow their family. And I think folks like that need a little bit of healing, right? Folks that are seeking family, that maybe feel a little lonely in the world. They need healing, even if they don't know they need healing. And you're a healer, so you're just bringing healing to everybody.
For me, it helps to think, because I have a lot of negative attachment to the concept of broken and disease. So,
Ooh, okay.
and the word healing to me implies imperfect experience.
Interesting. Okay.
And so I like to think of it as connection.
Okay.
I like to think of it as I came into this little body where I could experience a process of going home and remembering. And in order to experience remembering and connecting, I have to experience disconnection and forgetting.
Okay.
And so what I really feel powerfully capable of doing is remembering where I'm connected and seeing how I'm connected to each of us. And so a lot of times that helps people remember their own connection and their own source of home. Did you disappear? Where'd you go? Sheena, what just happened? I'm all by myself. It's just you and me. Speaking of being disconnected, it's okay. It's all just an illusion anyway. We're light forms, right? We're little light waves. And it's only a particle when it's stopped. So we get to experience particleness, but still be a wave. I don't know what else to happen. What happened? Sheena, text me. Where did you go? Please hold. We're experiencing technical difficulties. The little countdown is still going. It says live. What happened? Sheena, what happened? Are you okay? I don't know. What do you want to know? Did you always know? I always hoped. But like I said, I always thought, oh, there she is. Hi.
I'm back.
I lost you for a second.
I disappeared. It was my own fault.
It's okay. I vamped.
Good. Yeah, and I agree with you about the word healing. I love the word healing, not because I think it implies that you're broken. I just think that all of us, no matter what phase we're at in our life, no matter whether it's our best day or our worst day, we can always need a little bit of healing. To me, it's like what my friend refers to as sky candy. It's a little bit of joy and warmth that drops down like a warm liquid and kind of envelops you.
Yeah, it's like when home calls. It's like a care package.
Yeah,
Mom sent cookies.
Yeah,
Yay.
exactly. Yeah. I'm not a big fan like you of the words broken or the words disease or dis-ease, however it may be. But I think that all of us, even who don't know that we need a little healing, sometimes need a little healing. And I think I think that as we go through our days as human beings, right, which are very busy with stimulus and things we have to do and job and bills and worry and running around and being tired and not getting enough sleep, it's nice to go to a place where you can be filled up, right? Where your soul can be recharged. And I think for a lot of folks, going to conventions for their favorite shows or their favorite genre of shows are just as an amazing amount of rejuvenation. To me, healing is like recharge. That's how I think of it, like rejuvenation. And that feeling of family that we all need more of, right? I think that's a beautiful thing. And I think I haven't been to every convention or conference for every show, but I've been to a lot, and I have been to one for Supernatural. And there is just a feeling of, like you said, group connection, which I think leads to healing. I think the more connected you feel to everything, the more your system kind of resets itself. Does that make sense?
Totally agree. I think one of the most dangerous experiences I have as an entity is confirming the illusion of isolation. And I think I'm encouraged to feel isolated because when I'm isolated, I will make dumb decisions and spend stupid money to recapture the thing that actually is inherent. It is in my worth and my connection and my being is inherent. But when I'm isolated and when I allow myself to believe I'm isolated, let me rephrase that, because isolation is an illusion. But when I allow myself to believe I am isolated, I just take action that gives fear more power in my life. So when I choose to behave in a way that immerses me in collective joy, it's only good. And that's why I celebrate, and I have always celebrated the culture behind passion and fandom and connection through something that makes people happy. It's never been a story. Like, people that mock it are jealous they don't have it.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that's the beautiful thing. And also now that the world is I remember once interviewing Dean Haglund, who was one of the lone gunmen on X-Files, about how that was really the first time where the producers of the show were going into the AOL chats and seeing what the fans wanted more of and changing the show because of it. And now we see so much of that in television, right? Where fans are actually, their opinions are counting to future timelines on shows. That just makes you feel more connected to it all. And it just makes the love of your show something that's even more special. And I think shows like Supernatural are very special to me growing up. I grew up in a haunted house, right? I've lived in the paranormal world most of my life. And in that community, in the spiritual community, most of my life, my mother was a psychic medium. So it was nice. It's always nice for me to see shows and then families of shows grow around the idea of what lives beyond the three dimensions. Because growing up as kids, right, we didn't have a lot of that.
No, what did we had Scooby Doo.
Right? Yes.
Like,
yes.
I'm trying to remember, what did I
In Search Of? Remember when In Search Of started?
In
I was
Search
fascinated.
Of?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And like Halloween, you'd get one thing every Halloween time. Maybe one movie or one show would come out or one talk show would feature something supernatural, and you'd wait all year for it. Now there's so much of it you can't even keep up with it. I mean, it's amazing.
And I remember, like, it was always done to play on fear. Fear was
Yes.
still the driving force behind most of my spiritual lessons. And getting to the point where I can separate and recognize when something is playing on my fear and ego, even when it's dressed up as what I believe is spiritual connection. And
Yes.
being able to say, I don't play that game anymore. I take my ball and go home now.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I completely agree with you. How has it been for you integrating your spiritual life and coming to grips with your gifts, and your creative life? I mean, how is it now melding those two worlds together?
I don't really give it much thought. I do have the tendency when I feel like, when it's like, oh fuck, I gotta say this, and this is just weird. Because I've navigated most of my life being the weird kid. So I'm hyper functioning around other people's comfort. But
Yeah.
every once in a while, there's something that it's like, I gotta fucking say this, and it doesn't make any sense. And so I will say,
Good.
I will just preface it by saying I'm batshit crazy. Like, I don't own it in a confident. I don't own it in a way that I'm proud of. I own it still in a very apologetic. I'm still worried about what you think of me. I don't know if this is going to be helpful. I'm sorry for what I'm about to do, but I have to do it anyway. So
Right.
I am, I'm honestly answering your question. How do I do it? I don't do it gracefully, but
Right.
I do it. And I do it in the way, here's the thing though. I do it in a way that is the best I can do to take care of myself in the moment. So would I like to have better skills? Absolutely. Am I learning better skills? Absolutely. Is this the best I can do to take care of little Kim, who is still compelled to say something? Yep. This is the best I can do. Is kind of
Sure.
is kind of give myself, and you can even see it as I'm doing this. My body gets smaller. I make myself a harmless voice. I'm kind of silly. I'm kind of joking. Here are the words of God.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so no, I'm not confident about it. But
It's hard.
I still do it, and I still choose it, but I'm just and it makes me much more compassionate towards people who can't walk in courage.
Yeah.
Because I don't walk in courage. I walk in timid. I can't. Okay, I'm gonna try. And I have a lot more compassion for other people that are like, I can't. I really couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I know that.
Yeah, I totally understand that, and I find with my clients, it's easy, right? People come to you seeking help, and 99.9% of the time, they're so happy to get it. Every once in a while, I feel a client pull back when I say something. And I always jokingly laugh that that's the screw you, Sheena moment, where they just want to be like, screw you, Sheena. And
Yeah.
then everybody laughs and then it's okay. I find that it has been more difficult with friends. And I'm going to use these because I've realized through my journey that some people weren't friends. But people come to me, and because they now know I do this, right? They want the advice. And the first thing I learned when I started seeing clients was that I had friends that were actually clients because they only called me when they needed healing.
Yes.
And that was kind of a big eye opener. I was going to say crotch puncher, but probably both.
Same thing.
Now
I
find
all of the chakras.
Everything got kicked. I feel that now there are people that come to me and ask me, what do you think? And they will say, you can tell me anything. I want to know what you really think. And then I, like the dumb Aries that I am, will say something that I think is the softest blow I could come up with. And then it's, 3 days of emails filled with vitriol because how dare I? So I have learned through this journey not to often say what I think with people outside of the safety of a practitioner-client relationship, where I understand those people are really coming to, because they really do want to know how to make their life better. And they do really want to know the messages from spirit. I think a lot of other folks, they're just looking for you to tell them what they want to hear. They don't really want to know what spirit has to say. And I don't know about you, sweetheart, but I'm done with the 3 days of the emailing. I just don't want to go there anymore with folks that don't. I kind of tell spirit, look, love you guys, but you can find a way to tell them this yourself. It doesn't need to come through me.
100% agree. I don't actually get insight when it is something that they can't, figure it out yourself. That's
right.
That's the journey, right?
Yes.
Like, they talk to you too. They're your guides.
Yes.
They're your angels. Unless I am compelled, I have specifically said, I don't want to. Oh shit, where'd I go? Oh, there I am. See, there they are. I said, I disappeared for a second. I don't want to be involved.
Spirit took you out.
It took me out. I said, I don't want to be involved unless first, it's vital it be specifically me.
Yes.
Secondly, it will benefit both me and the recipient.
Yes.
And third, it sounds like fun and makes me feel better on some level. That doesn't mean I will always be comfortable, because for a long time I confused being uncomfortable with feeling bad. And then I learned that I really need to be uncomfortable to grow a lot of the times. So I was like, okay, you've got a point on that one. And so they're usually they're like, okay, we can work with that. So there will be times when I feel somebody's stuff around them pounding at their head, trying to get in. And I'm like, should I? And they're like, no, you said you didn't want this. And I'm like, you're right. I don't want this. I don't want to get in. It's not my job.
Yeah.
Not my job.
Yeah. I think I just recently signed up for Not My Job.
Yeah.
I think for a long time I was like, Aries rules the head, right? So your whole life is, ow, that hurts. Ow, that hurts. Ow, that hurts. And I just realized that it's not only is it not my responsibility, but I honestly don't want the responsibility. And I think heretofore, when situations like that arise, I'm going to say to folks, look, don't tell me that I can tell you anything and then get upset because I told you, because this has not boded well for me in the past.
Yeah.
Because I think people really think they want to know, but they think you're going to tell them what they want to hear. And it's never anything. I never say anything nasty. I never say anything hurtful. But sometimes people will come to me and say, this, and this is happening in my life with this person who's being abusive, who's being this. Can you tell me what you think I should do, or what spirit thinks I should do? And I think maybe what I'm learning is, and I think this is a lesson, that outside of the comfort of a client relationship. Probably if folks in my life want to know, they should maybe get their own practitioner or minister or therapist or all of the above and kind of work that out with them. I love to help people all the time. But I find that sometimes folks in your life just they don't really want that help. Now, at a situation like you're at a conference, man, those babies like are all just looking for like help and healing. I think most people who are even in the spiritual and paranormal world, a lot of folks are looking for answers. They're looking to better themselves. They're looking to find out what's out there, but beyond the 3 dimensions. And the interesting thing about doing it the way you do it, right, when you're sitting on a panel, Kim, is that you may be answering one person's question, but you're actually probably giving a little bundle of healing to 300 people without knowing you're doing it. Because when you do it in a group situation, the love comes for everyone, right? Not just the person who inquired. Yeah. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about working in a group situation.
I thank you for that. I thank you for reflecting it, because that has been my hope. That has been my experience and my perspective of it. And so that's what I like to think too, is that it's less. And also I work much more like, you are really, really gifted at seeing, like, the image that comes to me are those pictures that are all made up of squares that move. And so you have to move the squares to create the picture. And so you are really good at seeing how things need to slot into place to create a picture, a very concrete picture. I am not. That is not my gift. My gift is much more, where is the part of your heart that isn't whole? Yeah. And how can I remind you where home is to fill that spot in? And so the people who come to me in that environment, it's much easier for me to just say, you're the candle. You don't see the candle in the dark because it's you, babe. It's you.
Yeah.
And the scary thing about being the candle is that, yeah, you don't see the candle until you take a deep breath and hold your own heart and you go, there I am. There I am. But I don't have a lot of situations where people are inquiring, should I go with this agent or should I go with this manager? Or is this person, I don't have people who ask for facts from me at all, which is thank fucking God. Because I don't know how to, that's just like, They aren't telling me any of those things.
Unfortunately, Kim, they're telling me everything.
See, that's
about everyone all the time. And I think when I'm dealing with a client who's come looking for help, right? And my girlfriend is a therapist, so we kind of do two sides of the same coin, right? So I see this a lot with her clients as well. And I tell them something they don't want to hear. They're usually good about saying, you know what, I know you're right. And I can't seem to not do that. Yeah. And I get that, right? Because we've all been in abusive situations with people that we know we should have gotten away from. We've all made the wrong decision, right? We've all done the thing that worked against us instead of for us, even though we knew we shouldn't. So when somebody says to me, thank you for saying that, but I don't know if I'll ever leave so-and-so or change this job situation. Hey, I've got respect for that, because you see the awareness and you're saying, maybe I just don't have it in me. And my job then is to help build the confidence in you so you then have it in you to do it. Yeah. That is lovely, because that's somebody who's open to healing. It doesn't mean the healing has to happen right away. And I have other quote unquote light workers that will come up to me and say, don't you hate it when clients don't take your advice? No, I don't hate that at all. I'm just here to pass the message. I'm not here to make you do it. That's not my job. It's not Spirit's job, right? We all have free will here. It's my job to pass the healing to you. It's not your job to do it right away or in any order, any time, or show me that you did it. That's not at all I'm not a life coach. That's not my job. But I think there are other people, right, who have a certain level of disconnection. and they just want to tell you everything that's going on with them and ask you. And I think in those situations, you just kind of have to say, I'm so sorry you're going through that, and I'm here and I wish you the best, and not really give the advice that they don't want.
Yep. Yeah.
And I'm learning that, right? Because as I said, I'm an Aries, I'm a zodiac baby. I always figure like, oh, somebody wants a help or a healing. Where do I go?
I can do it.
I'm there. Here I come with my tiny little crystal ball cape. But now I'm learning that, maybe everybody doesn't really want to know what you think. And maybe it's best just to leave that for either the client situation, or like you said, the public situation where I'm speaking to a group of people, or doing a video live or something where there's a lot of people there, and I'm grabbing those people. And people are taking the healing as they get it, the messages as they get them, the connection as they get them, but nobody's feeling any kind of one-on-one pressure. And it's hard to know where that line is, right? When you have that gift, when you have that power. And I don't mean power like, oh, this is my power and it makes me so special, but I mean the power to move people. And you, Kim, have that as well. You have this amazing power to move people, and you do it in an interesting way. I remember when I saw you at that convention, and we'd already been friends for a long time before that. You were doing like a karaoke thing with a bunch of the supernatural folks.
Oh God, that's right. Yes.
Your energy was very much like, I'm just somebody from the audience that came up here to do this, not, oh, I'm the big cast member doing this. And I think that is a really great way for folks to connect to you, right? Because they're feeling like, oh, she's really one of us. And not somebody that's like, feels like this big celebrity or star, but somebody who's being very humble and very much being one of us. And I love that, because what a wonderful way to connect to people, to show yourself how you're one of them, and you're having as much fun up there doing the karaoke as they would be if they were picked to come up and do it.
Well, I thank you for that. And that is pure 100% self-preservation. Because as I said earlier, the thorns in my side are ego and fear. And so if I start buying in to the image of an entity that is elevated above humanity on any way, I then have put my ego in charge, and my fear is the currency. So my ego says, you have to actually be this big thing. And the big thing is a fucking illusion. So I have set myself up for failure, right?
Yes.
I have now said there is this image that I need to be. And if I am not it, I am wrong. Well, I have now guaranteed an existence of fear, insecurity, attachment, and isolation.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that, but that isn't any like, oh, I'm an advanced, humble, I've chosen to walk amongst humans as if I am one of them. It is way more like, otherwise I would fucking jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Because that's the truth, right? The truth is that if I live in an illusion, I miss the beauty of my life. I miss the actual gifts of spirit.
Yes.
And I tell my fear that it's right and should be in charge.
Yes.
So I can't, the other show that people know me from, and it's really sweet doing conventions now because I'm getting to meet adults that I raised on the Disney Channel show.
Oh yeah.
On The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody.
Yes.
And these people are now grown-ups who come and get, and I always know when somebody knows me from Zach and Cody, because they'll look at me and they'll just start to cry.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, honey, I'm mommy, aren't I? And there's so many people that, for whatever circumstances, there is no blame behind this, but have never experienced unconditional maternal love.
Yes.
And identified this meat suit with that experience because of a Disney Channel show.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do it. I can do it. I can look in a set of eyes and fucking love them unconditionally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I can't do that if I think we're separate.
Yes.
Or if I think they have to earn the right for me to love them.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So
yeah,
I am not someone who's stepped down to be that's not the truth. The truth is I am of everyone as a gift to myself that the spirits gave me so that I can love everyone, because that love comes back to me.
Yeah, I feel like what I said earlier, that I was always the new kid, which is true. My dad was a corporate engineer, so they called him wherever they needed help. So we moved all the time, and I was always the new kid. And I thought it was the most horrible thing in the world, that disenfranchised, lonely feeling. But boy, was that one of the biggest gifts that Spirit ever gave me, because now I have the ability to make friends with strangers in 2 minutes and make everyone feel connected. Like when I produce the Vagina Monologues, right? There's 40 actresses there, right? And most of you don't know each other. Some of you I barely know, but in a day we become a family, and everyone makes a friend almost always that they take with them that they didn't know before and become good friends with afterwards. I did a film once that it had like a $30,000 budget. So for people who don't know film, that's like the Dollar Tree of films. And I got busted by the super ego-y lead in the Dollar Tree of films, because I was sitting at the table with the extras, eating their fantastic craft service, which was Del Taco cheese and egg burritos. And I literally got pulled away from the table, and she said, what are you doing talking to them? You're a principal player and you belong at this table. And first of all, the cast was like, probably the whole cast, even the people I didn't work with, probably was 20 people. So there was probably 10 actors on the set that day. And I was sitting at this table with these sweet people. We were all getting the really same lousy burritos. It wasn't like we were eating a sliced lamb and they were having this.
Yeah,
we were
right?
all eating the, and I just said to her, no, I'm not going to not talk to people I'm on a set with. And she said, well, that's just not how it's done. And I said, well, maybe that's not how it's done in your world. But in my world, everybody who's here, and by the way, we're all working for free. Everybody who's here is here to make art and out of love and donating their time. And I'm not going to act like I'm better than anybody else. And I took a lot of crap on that set because I refused to do that. But I don't care if I'm doing a film with a $30 million budget. No one's ever going to tell me they're people I can't talk to or make eye contact with, because that's just odd. And I don't have any urge to, I've never felt like I was better than anybody else or different, certainly, but I think we're all different, right? The more everybody feels like they fit in, the more you're going to get better performances out of people. So when I direct for charity and I do those shows, some of those actresses are like hella famous, and some of those actresses are like my friends from regional theater, community theater. And nobody knows the difference on that night because we're all just working together to make something beautiful. And I think that's a lesson we all should take forward in our lives in general, is stop worrying about who's who and just start feeling everyone's hearts and base your connection with someone on whether or not you like what comes from their heart and soul, and not who you think they are. This, you talk about fear and ego, Kim. This urge to like rank everyone is nothing but pure fear and ego. And we got to stop that and start loving each other. We'd have a much more peaceful world, you know?
It is true. I don't know what to, I definitely have a lot of empathy though for people who respond in fear, because it's painful to be the one who's like, here's my open heart and here's my gifts and that I offer to you, and have somebody who's scared of it for
Right.
whatever reason, and may not even like, that's the other thing, is that fear is so insidious. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like fear. It feels like anger. It feels like judgment. It feels
Yes.
like, and so someone will be processing their fear in a way that causes me immense discomfort. And then my challenge is like, I want to say you're doing it wrong. You're fucking doing it wrong because I'm hurt. And that's more fear, right? That's me responding to fear with fear. So how do I take my little heart? How do I be like, okay, this fucking hurts. Let it hurt. Don't take any action. Don't burn anybody's house down. Don't stab anything. Just let it hurt. Let it hurt. Let it. It's okay. You're held. You're okay. You're safe. And then come back to, they were just scared. They're just scared. They're just scared. And they did some things that hurt you. And yeah, it hurt. That does not absolve them of the consequences of their actions. But it makes it a lot easier for me to just be like, wow, I wish that hadn't happened, but I see why it did. Like, I can't rid the world of fear, but I am learning to not yes and the fear.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if you could suck the fear out of a situation? I mean, even out of yourself. If somebody invented some kind of like the Flowbee, remember the Flowbee?
Yes.
The Flowbee, but instead of sucking up
cute,
your
Rick.
hair and cutting it, it would suck up your fear and just cut the cord.
I don't know about you, but all of the lessons that I look at and go, oh, I like this about me.
Yeah.
I'm proud that this is a part. All came on the other side of fear and discomfort. Like, if I experienced a truly fearless life, I think fear is the currency of being human. And the whole point is to find a way around it. If there were no fear to begin with, then what tools would I have to be me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And where would I have compassion? I would have zero compassion if other people weren't being foolish dickwads.
Yeah. I think I would have compassion anyhow. I think I was born with the compassion gene just flowing out of me.
I agree that you would. You
would. But I would sure like to get rid of some of the fear. And I have. I mean, I think, what is that expression? You either get bitter or you get better, right? Yeah. So I think as I've gotten older, I've become so much less fearful than when I was younger. I see so many of my friends at the same age, and I'm proud to say I'm going to be 55 in a couple weeks. I see so many of my friends have gotten more terrified and bitter and fearful as they've gotten older. So I'm so glad that my anxiety, people go, wouldn't you like to be 20 again? And I'm like, oh my God, I was a ball of anxiety. No, it's nice that I don't sweat the small stuff as much as I did, and things that would have broken me now are just like kind of a crotch punching moment. But yeah, I mean, I think that so much of the problems in the world are because of people's fear. I think bigotry is fear. I think homophobia is fear. I think religious intolerance is fear. You're so fearful of the other person and what is going to happen if you're near them. What are you going to catch from them, or what are they going to influence you to do? It's all fear.
And that fear of there is not enough for me to be okay.
Yeah.
Therefore, if I let someone have what they need to be okay, I will not be okay. And if there's not enough love, there's not enough resources, there's not enough space, there's not enough whatever it is, I have needs that will not be met if I am not afraid.
Exactly.
And
yes.
Recognizing the limitation that puts, again, I am not it presents as altruism, but I'm ultimately a very selfish being. And what I've recognized is that mindset is limiting and paralyzing.
Yeah.
And I am a fucking Gemini. You do not limit or paralyze this little air sign. So
Yeah.
I had to learn to recognize fear for what it was instead
Mm.
of responding to it as a fact, and just be like, oh, I understand that you are choosing fear right now. And I won't make you more scared because of it. I won't sit here and have dinner with you. But you're right. I think all of it stems from fear. And when I see it as fear, I can take my ball and walk away.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think, like I said, I think if every day we work to eliminate a little bit of fear in us and replace it with kindness that we would put
Yes.
out, the
Yes.
tsunami of change on the earth in a day would be completely awe-inspiring. And we wouldn't
Yes.
even have to, not everything, just get rid of a tiny fear and
Well,
put it
and
into a kindness.
kindness towards ourselves. Like
Yeah,
it was a monumental, earth-shattering awareness when I realized that it is not a selfish act to be kind to myself.
right.
Because when my heart is consoled and comforted and loved and held, it's strong and brave to go out into the world and console and comfort and love others.
Absolutely.
But when I'm trying to take care of them before I comfort my heart, it becomes quickly depleted and resentful, and then I get
Right.
whiny and angry.
Absolutely. Well, and on the heels of that, I will ask you, um, how has it been for you as a huge empath during this last couple of years where you can feel everyone's fear and grief and loss, and how have you handled that as an empath?
It's what an interesting question. How have I handled it? I had a lot of time to recognize what was actually my crap that I blamed on the world
Mm,
because we were cut off. So that was
right.
really
Yes.
interesting to
Uh-huh.
kind of say, "Oh, that's actually that's my shit. I got to clean that up. That's me." Um and that was really empowering. I loved that.
Right.
And once I really started owning what was my side of the street again, I could recognize, I mean, all of these things I'm talking about are definitely from the last couple of years of awareness of saying, "Oh, you're not bad. You're scared."
Yeah.
Um, on the flip side, I have a lot less patience for other people claiming to be light workers
No.
who are not patient with humans just being humans. Like the
Yes.
amount of people that so quickly wanted to cut off aspects of humanity or sever people's experiences or proclaim people as evil and bad and in need of changing to their way of thinking. I was like, wait a minute. I'm supposed to be on your side. And I don't know if I necessarily like you any better than the people on the side I'm not supposed to be on. So
Yeah.
I
Yes.
have really narrowed my circle of people that
Right.
I feel like are my people,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not a side anymore. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, are we aiming at increasing love, or are we aiming at validating fear?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, and when I took a step into the psychic world, thinking, oh well, it's not going to be like all the egos in entertainment. Boy, was I wrong, and it made me realize that because I grew up in the entertainment world, that no matter what world you're in, you're sometimes dealing with those egos and those types that talk the talk but don't walk the talk.
Yeah.
And don't like people who do walk it, because then, well, what's their excuse not to be, right? That was
Yeah.
a big shocker for me when I first moved into this world, and something I'm still trying to get used to a little bit. Because with me as an Aries, inside every Aries lives this like little bunny that's about 3 weeks old, that's like, oh, everybody loves me and I love everybody. And I had to learn that, you know what? I don't have to love everybody, and everybody doesn't have to love me. That's just my little 3-day-old bunny fantasy. Doesn't have to be the truth.
Yep.
That you have to do the work in spite of the fact that the people that don't want to get on board, it's just so important that you still put out what you're putting out and put out that love and not be deterred by anything else. And that has been a lesson for me. I think that I've learned during the pandemic, that being away from people for all that time taught me, like you said, what I really wanted in my life, who I really wanted in my life, and honestly, things I wanted to fix, both about my friend circle and about myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's been a lesson for all of us that has been a gift, because I believe out of every horrific thing comes a gift. And I think
Yes.
that has been the gift, you know?
I agree with that in the small world of the pandemic, but that's also because, like, I don't ever want to define another person's experience. And it's not up to me to say if other people receive a gift that is worth their suffering. I only know that has been true for my life, but I completely fucking understand if that there are other people that are like, no gift will be worth what I have just endured. And I will love that too. And if people look at me and say, like that bumper sticker that says, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention. I disagree with that.
Yeah.
But I also say that's your power. That's your path. That is also, like, there's this idea that if somebody's doing things differently, then I am going to assume they are doing things wrong.
Right.
And that could not be less the truth. Is that what I believe? I am the only person in the world I know for sure if it works for or not. And the reason I believe what I believe is based on my life experience. And since I'm the only one who's ever had my life experiences, why the fuck would I expect somebody else to believe everything I believe?
Absolutely. Absolutely true. So true.
So I love that's again that connection without, like, we can integrate without having to assimilate.
Absolutely true. Yeah, so true. Sweetie, you are wonderful. I can't believe we're out of time already. I told you this would be like 2 minutes with us. Where can people find you online? And let's do this again. I would love it. And I hope everybody goes out to a conference and sees you. Convention.
I've been doing a lot of conventions. I do signing conventions and supernatural conventions. Really, the only online I have an Instagram that's Kim Rhodes for real, and perfect. I really only use it when the ravens on my roof that I feed have done something exciting. Mostly, I'm on TikTok.
Nice.
That's where I've discovered all of my babies that are looking for connection with a mom with bad advice. So I haven't been there for a while. I will be back again, but TikTok is my primary, and it's Kim Rhodes, the number 4 and real, because I'm derivative and not remotely original.
Do it, my friends. Go find her because she's wonderful. I love you, my friend. I'm so happy that you were here with me today. You were just exactly what I needed. The medicine I needed today was you. And I thank you for that. If you missed any of those links, please find me, SheenaMetalSpiritual.com. Find the station at KGRADB.com. Find me all over social media. I'm just at Sheena Metal everywhere. Until I see you next Friday at 3:00 Pacific time, seek peace, my friends. Live in love. Lead with kindness. Embrace unity. Always work to raise your vibration, and know I'll be thinking about you, and I love you until I see you next week. Thank you for being here. Thank you to KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. Thank you, Kim Rhodes. I'll see you guys next time. This is the Sheena Metal Experience, and I'm Sheena Metal.